Well, the old Washington Consensus was really around this idea that we would spread this kind of free market, open trade, fiscal discipline to all these countries around the world. And if they just kind of copied us, they would develop quickly and all. It was a response to some countries being so far off like Brazil being totally protectionist and Argentina running up massive budget deficits and then their currency falling and in massive inflation. Okay, countries need to have good macroeconomic stability in their policy. You need to have somewhat openness to trade. I get all that. The problem with the Washington Consensus today is it really doesn't give countries a path by which they can grow their economies. It's just don't do these bad things and these wonderful things will happen. And the problem today is that countries know that that's not enough. They have to be more proactive. And what I worry about is if the West comes in and says, hey, don't do these bad things. And China comes in and says, hey, wait a minute, here are these good things you can do. You can build up your infrastructure. You can help train your workers. You can install these really good technology, and we will help you do that. What I worry about is then it sort of puts countries in a like, yeah, I like that one better. I'm going to go in that direction, and so it just leads a lot of countries to then go and say, well, we really like the Chinese model, and we're going to be more aligned with China. And I think the reality is, the Washington Consensus was never a good model for developing countries. So I think as long as the West keeps sort of proselytizing this market-based view, we're just going to lose countries because they're like, I don't want to do that. I want to follow Korea. I want to follow China. They look at China and they go, I really like that. I mean, you look at China 40 years ago, incredible poverty, millions of bicycles and no cars. Now it's incredible, EVs and all this stuff. So I think Washington and the West has to come up with another model for how to grow. And that's what I would say, reject the Washington Consensus. But I do think a lot of countries look to China and say, how do I grow my manufacturing? How do I become moving up the value chain the way China has? So, and also the other thing about China, I would say, I give China credit for this, is they put a lot of effort into this. They really reach out to a lot of developing countries and say, what can we do? The U.S. doesn't do that as much anymore.